benedict the devotees and to kill the demons. He doesn't have to come to kill the demons because Krishna is all powerful. He can make an earthquake, kill millions of people at once. He can send a tidal wave to wash out whole islands. He can send a plague to kill off millions of people, like the Black Plague in the 13th century when supposedly more than 20 million people were killed in Europe alone, and then 20 million from the people from the Spanish flu were killed. And who knows what the next one will be. The bird flu looks promising. But we don't know what's going to happen at any moment. These are the four miseries of material life, four different miseries: Adibhatika, Adidaivika, Adiatmika, and
Only three.
There are only three. Okay, thank you. All right, so Adibhatika means miseries caused by our own body and by the bodies of other living entities. For example, we may go to the beach, sandflies and flies will bother us. We may get bitten by sea lice or a shark. We might get sunburn. This is enjoyment at the beach. If we get sunburn, that's misery caused by our own body. That might cause a disturbance in the mind also. So disturbances of the mind are there, depression, anxiety and so on. Adhyatmika, Adidaivika, miseries caused by gods, floods, hurricanes, cyclones like we had last summer, and so on. So no one can say, well, can anyone in this room say they've never had any disease whatsoever?
Who's
No?
the youngest? Who's the youngest one here?
Well, she's had properties.
Oh, really? Do you remember?
I think everyone at some stage has had some disease, so it's unavoidable. Even if we've got the best immune system in the world, it's not perfect and we're going to get a disease at some time. So also miseries are caused by birth and death. Nobody can avoid death. Many people are afraid of death, but devotees are not afraid because for the ordinary person, death is like very horrible, like a lion coming to kill one. But for the devotee, it's like a mother cat is coming to pick up the kitten, very gentle. And we are singing these prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev every day. Lord Nrsimhadev is a very fearsome form of Krishna, is half man, half lion. And he comes to kill the demon Hiranyakashipu, but for his devotee, he kills Hiranyakashipu, but immediately afterwards his devotee Prahlad Maharaj approaches him and he becomes very gentle and kind again. So his purpose is to kill the demons. When there's a rise in your religion, and a decrease in religion, at that time I bent myself. Who is this? Oh, this is Lord Nrsimha.
I wanted to bring it so people can get a visual
Okay,
of who
very
you're
good.
talking about.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is Lord Nrsimhadev. He's called Narahari, or half man, half lion. Does anyone want to hear the story?
What about dancing? Kirtan?
What about what, sorry?
Dancing and kirtan.
All right, we'll get there in a minute. I'll briefly finish commenting on this battlefield. But if we can understand Krishna's purpose, Arjuna becomes bewildered on the battlefield, and Krishna's purpose is to enlighten him in all the different forms of religion, all the different demigods, all the different types of yoga, and to tell him what is the best thing to do and why he should fight on this battlefield. And by listening to this conversation, the Song of God, we can also become enlightened because it's meant for us too. It's not just meant for Arjuna. Arjuna was put into bewilderment by a potency of Krishna called Yogamaya. It's not that he was bewildered like we become bewildered, but it was a special potency of Krishna so that he would be able to speak these words to Arjuna and to everyone else. So does everyone get a sort of an idea of what's happening on the battlefield now? That there are two sides. One side has taken the rightful property of the other, which was the kingship of the earth. And even after doing everything they wanted, they came and asked for the land back, and they said, no, we won't give it to you. We won't even give you enough land to stick a pin into. So there was no other option but to fight on the battlefield. Last week I told how many of the warriors died. Very interesting stories. Maybe we can tell them again some other time. But everyone's cute time and to take for science, so I'll stop and just ask if there are any questions. Be careful, I might ask you questions.
So why does Arjuna need to fight?
Why is he there to fight? Because the five Pandavas, him, Arjuna and his four brothers, were the rightful heirs to the throne, but it was usurped by the Kauravas who were fighting on the other side. So Krishna, God, wanted the Pandavas to be the kings of the earth because they were righteous, noble people and devotees. And if they became kings, then the whole planet would become very prosperous and happy and opulent. So that's what Krishna wanted, and he wanted Arjuna to fight in that battle. He said it doesn't really matter if you fight or not, they're all going to be killed anyway. So you may as well fight and become a hero on the battlefield. But he wanted Arjuna to fight because they had a very friendly relationship, and he didn't want Arjuna to be discredited in any way because he's a famous warrior, famous for his strength. Krishna says in so many ways, O mighty armed Arjuna, O conqueror of sleep, O son of Kunti. He describes him in many different ways as being a noble hero, and he doesn't want to see that diminished at all. He wants Arjuna to fight and show his prowess on the battlefield. And because they have a very friendly relationship, Krishna and Arjuna are the same age, apparently, and they're related also through their aunt, Kunti.
Yeah.
So they have a friendly and a familiar, kinship relationship, and Krishna does not want to see Arjuna in any way diminished or defeated. So he encourages in many ways.
Thank you.
Any other question? Yeah.
So this was a battle for control of the earth, or just part of it?
Can you speak up a little? I'm going senile over here.
This was a battle. How do we know there was a battle for control of the entire earth rather than just their land? Was it?
Because in the scriptures, specifically the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's described how a ruler becomes controller of the whole earth, and how Yudhisthira became controller of the earth. They sent out a horse called a challenge horse to all the different kings. At that time, the whole earth, Srila Prabhupada described, was under the rule of one king. And we call India Bharat Varsh because that one king was Bharat, Maharaj Bharat. And he was the emperor of the entire known world at that time. So it had other names. Ilavrita Varsha also is another name. But Yudhisthira, he sent out the challenge horse and he did the sacrifices to become king of the world. In different places in the scripture it's described how the different countries are actually under the control of one emperor. And at that time we only had the scripture. Of course the place is still there, Kurukshetra is still there, there's a railway station there, it's all built up now. But the place is still there, and it was known from very ancient times, Kurukshetra, Dharmakshetra. So how do we know? We know because there, well, for example, in Greece there's a column there which has many inscriptions on it, which the Greek king was glorifying Krishna. It was a few thousand years before Christ. So there are many different places where it can be verified in scripture, but if you, archaeology, I don't know if there's any archaeological evidence besides a few inscriptions on a few pillars and things like that. But if anyone else has anything to comment, please do. Woody?